All right, let's just jump right in. You know, every once in a while in the tech world, a company makes a statement that is so bold, so audacious, it just forces everybody to stop and pay attention. Well, today, we're unpacking one of those moments. We're talking about late 2025, when a single earnings call from a company called IonQ basically declared that the quantum race was over.
And listen, they didn't just hint at it. Oh no, they came right out and said it. Their words, "We are the 800-pound gorilla of quantum." I mean, what a claim, right? But this wasn't just some empty boast. This was a full-on declaration of dominance. And they said they had the receipts, the tech, the numbers, the whole shebang to back it up.
So, that's the big question we're tackling today. How on earth is IonQ backing up this level of hype? We're going to break down their entire argument, piece by piece. We'll start with the money, then we'll get into the weeds on the technology, and finally, we'll look at the grand strategy that they believe has put them light years ahead of everybody else. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the most undeniable metric there is, the cash. IonQ's whole argument really kicks off with a financial performance that you can't ignore.
So the headline number for their third quarter was a record-shattering revenue of almost $40 million. Now I know, in the world of giant tech companies that might not sound like a ton, but you have to understand, in this super new, still emerging field of quantum computing, a number like that, it's a seismic event. And check this out, because it's not just the number itself, it's how they got there. They didn't just meet their own goals, they completely blew them out of the water. That bar on the right shows they beat the high end of their own forecast by 37%. They called it their largest quarterly revenue beat ever, and it's just crystal clear proof that things are really starting to take off for them.
And this wasn't some fluke, it was part of a much bigger trend. That $40 million quarter, it represented a mind-blowing 222% growth in revenue compared to the exact same period the year before. I mean, that is the kind of explosive growth that makes everyone in the industry snap to attention. And it's not just about the money they're making, it's about the money they have in the bank to fuel the future. After a huge capital raise, their cash balance is sitting at a cool $3.5 billion. This isn't just a rainy day fund, people. This is the financial firepower, the war chest they need to fund their entire roadmap, maybe even buy up competitors and just cement their lead for years to come. But, you know, big numbers are one thing. They don't mean a whole lot if the core technology isn't actually legit. So let's pop the hood and look inside their quantum engine because, let's be real, the money's only there if the machine actually works. So IonQ draws a really hard line in the sand. They say they make true quantum computers. They make a huge distinction between their universal, gate-based systems and what they kind of dismissively call toy machines, things like quantum annealers or simulators. They argue that only their approach, the true one, can actually deliver a real commercial quantum advantage. And here's a number that really shows off their technical chops: 99.99%. That's their world record 2-qubit gate fidelity. Now, in simple terms, just think of it as a measure of how reliable the computer is. The fewer errors you have every time you do a calculation, the more powerful and complex the problems you can actually solve. This wasn't just a small step up. They called it a momentous and historic achievement.
And you can see how that technical lead plays out directly on their roadmap. Just look at this. IonQ is aiming for 1,600 logical qubits by 2028. One of their biggest rivals, on the other hand, is shooting for 2,000, but not until 2033. That's the 5-year gap right there. That's the basis for their whole claim that everyone else is playing catch-up.
And the gap today is already insane. Their latest machine, which they call Tempo, has a computational space that's kind of the arena where the math happens, that is 36 quadrillion times larger than the best machine from their top competitor. It's a number so big it almost sounds fake, but it gives you a sense of the scale, the advantage they're talking about right now. But here's the thing. Their vision is so much bigger than just building the best computer. No, they are building an entire quantum ecosystem, a platform that is designed to be completely indispensable. They've built their whole business around these 4 pillars. Of course, it all starts with their world-class quantum computing. But then it expands into networking those computers together, using quantum sensing for crazy stuff like next-gen GPS, and then providing quantum-proof cybersecurity. It is a full-stack approach that really nobody else is even attempting. And they are aggressively building a defensive moat around this whole platform. They've gone out and bought key companies like Oxford Ionics and Vector Atomic to bring that crucial tech in-house. They set up a special division, IonQ Federal, just to land those big government contracts. and they're weaving themselves into massive projects with giants like CERN, NVIDIA, and AstraZeneca. Every single one of these moves makes them that much harder to compete with. And to protect all of this, they're building a fortress of intellectual property. They now have over 1,100 patents, either pending or already granted. That is a 30-fold increase since they first went public. They are literally putting a patent on the future of this industry. So you put the money, the tech, and the strategy all together, and where does it lead? What is the ultimate vision here? Well, this is where things get truly mind-bending.
Okay, you really need to listen to this quote from their team. They said that to build a classical supercomputer powerful enough to match what their 2026 system will do, you would need a power source 1 billion times bigger than the entire power-generating capability of our planet. Let that sink in. It means these problems aren't just hard for today's computers, they are fundamentally impossible.
And here's the crazy part. They are just getting started. If you look at their public roadmap, they are on this steep exponential climb, from hundreds of qubits in 2026 to an unbelievable 2 million physical qubits by the end of the decade. Every step up this ladder unlocks a level of computing power humanity has never, ever seen before. So, what's all this power for? I mean, this isn't about making faster video games or anything like that. IonQ truly believes this technology is the key to solving some of our absolute biggest challenges, from designing brand new drugs to cure diseases, to inventing new battery chemistries for clean energy, and even creating the next evolution of artificial intelligence.
Which really just leaves us with this one final powerful question. If you listen to IonQ, the debate is over. It's not a matter of if the quantum age will get here. They say it's already arrived. And honestly, their numbers, their tech, and their strategy, it all makes a really compelling case. Now, look, in a field this new, things can change, roadmaps slip, and competitors are not just sitting around. But IonQ's core argument is that the gap is already just too big to close. So, if they're right, if this is really it, the only question left for all of us is, now that we have this almost unimaginable power, what are we going to do with it?